Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a pretty intense and fascinating topic, the Chernobyl nuclear reactor explosion. Now, I know nuclear power might seem a bit complicated at first glance, but don't worry, we're going to break it all down into simple, relatable chunks. Chernobyl isn't just a name on a paper, it's part of our history, and its impact can still be felt today. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's chat about what led to that fateful night, what happened afterward, and how it shaped the world we live in today. All right, let's start with a little background. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant is located near a city called Pripyat in what was then the Soviet Union. Now it's Ukraine. It started operating in the 1970s and boasted 4 reactors in total. The type of reactor used there was called an RBMK, which, believe me, had its quirks. Back in the 80s, the Soviet Union was all about pushing the limits of technology, and nuclear power was seen as a way to boost energy production. But here's the thing, the design wasn't exactly perfect. These reactors had some serious flaws, and that would turn out to be a big problem. So keep that in mind as we move forward. There was a lot going on in the political and technological world at that time, and Chernobyl was right in the thick of it. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty, the night of the explosion. Picture it. It's April 25th, 1986, and the plant staff is preparing to run a safety test to figure out how well the reactor would handle a power outage. Sounds pretty logical, right? But here's where things went sideways. A series of human errors and design flaws set the scene for disaster. The operators misunderstood some crucial safety protocols, and combined with a little miscommunication, things got seriously unstable. Imagine trying to cook dinner but mixing up all the ingredients. You know it's going to end badly, and that's exactly what happened. They were in a situation that was just primed for an explosion, and they didn't even realize it until it was too late. Fast forward to the early morning hours of April 26. At 1:23 a.m., reactor number 4 experienced a massive explosion. It was such a big boom that people several miles away felt it, and the whole top of the reactor blew off. Can you imagine the shock? The plant workers and emergency teams on site scrambled to understand what had just happened. The confusion was palpable as they desperately tried to make sense of the chaos. And with that explosion, the world had its first glimpse of a disaster that was about to unfold in unimaginable ways. After the explosion, chaos reigned. Pripyat, the nearby city, was filled with about 50,000 residents who had to be evacuated, but that decision came too late. Firefighters rushed to the scene with little knowledge of the radiation they were facing. Within hours, it became clear that radioactive materials had been released into the atmosphere. The severity of the situation was overwhelming, not just for those at the plant, but for everyone in the surrounding areas. The human cost was about to be felt, and many had no idea how dangerous the effects of that night would truly be. Now, you might think the government would jump into action right away, right? Well, not exactly. At first, the Soviet government kept things hush-hush. They didn't want panic to spread, which is understandable, but not the best approach. It wasn't long before the truth started leaking out, and international agencies began to step in. The world was watching, and scrutiny of the Soviet nuclear program grew. Eventually, the Chernobyl Forum was established to investigate and address the disaster. This incident wasn't just a big deal for the Soviet Union. It changed how the entire world viewed nuclear energy. So, what happened in the long run? The environmental impact was staggering. Much of the nearby area became heavily contaminated, creating a so-called exclusion zone. And let's talk about health. Radiation exposure led to a rise in various illnesses, including cancers among those who were affected. In response to this disaster, the containment efforts included building what is known as the sarcophagus around the reactor, and later, a new structure called the New Safe Confinement. Chernobyl also left a lasting cultural and psychological mark on survivors and the people in the region. The lessons learned from this event are still relevant today. To wrap things up, the Chernobyl disaster serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of safety and transparency in nuclear energy. We've explored a lot, from the events leading up to the explosion to those lasting consequences. Remember, it's crucial to learn from the past as we move forward. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into Chernobyl. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more interesting stories from history. Stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next video.